5 AI mistakes to avoid. And yes, I'm excited you're all here. As with the chat box, if you can let us know where you're from, your business name, and what you're most excited about learning in today's webinar as well. We're going to be getting kicked off in just a moment. And like I said, we are recording today's webinar. I am your host. My name is Geoffrey. I'm a marketing manager at GoDaddy. I'm going to jump into that in just, I guess, right now. Yeah, that's me. And today we're going to actually explore some common AI, well, I don't want to say pitfalls, but just some common mistakes that you and I and everyone else usually do make. But more importantly, I want to make sure that you know how to stay clear of them, all while really unlocking AI's potential and making sure that your small business, your online business, you know what you can actually do on these platforms. And we're going to also dive into just some practical examples using Chat GPT as well. Orlando Realtor, we almost keep Mystique and want to know how to draw more customers to our site. Love this. Tim Wheat, Memphis Poet. Yes, as you're coming into the room, please let us know who you are, your business, and what you're most excited about learning in the webinar today as well. And we're happy that you're here. And use this chance to also network. If you have social media sites, if you have websites, put those in the chat box. Let us follow you. Let us engage with your business. This is also, I feel like, a really great part of these webinars, as well as not just educational part, but also the networking part as well. So you're looking at AI, you're giving it some thought, you just don't know where to start. And I'm not gonna lie, I know exactly where you are, I know exactly how you feel. But if you not necessarily just want results, but if you want to know how to commonly use um, AI, use ChatGPT, use AI to make sure that you're getting the most out of what you're asking, you really want to make sure that you're communicating with it in the right way. Now, excuse me, during this webinar today, while we are utilizing ChatGPT for educational purposes only, I want to make sure that you all know that all the generated content that we're using for ChatGPT is just for learning and discussion purposes. So I'm going to actually using my personal account, but please note that this is all produced by ChatGPT, the content that we're going to be looking at, not in the webinar slides, but the actual like prompts, things we're going to be using. I'm going to also be shifting this over to GoDaddy's AI prompt library as well. So looking through those prompts, I've also pinned that prompt library in the top of the chat box as well. So look for that pin, open it, use it, bookmark it. This is going to be super helpful as we're going throughout today's webinar, as it is going to be a very much interactive webinar as well. So I do want to ask, is want to draw more clients to my sites, get more leads? Yes. Okay. John, I love this. Yes, I love all of this. Electric bike rentals in Daytona. I am I'm good on the bike. The scooters, I'm not so good, but love an electric bike. Like, especially when you go to a new city. I feel like if you're not exploring the city by bike or by scooter, I will encourage that as well. But if you're not doing something like that, then you're missing out. It's a great way to see a city. It's a great way to get to know a place. And you also get to take, I feel like, a few more breaks, maybe get a beverage, maybe get an ice cream, get some food, and really just see a place for what it is when you're visiting. So love that. Electrical bike rentals in Daytona Beach, Florida. Not been to Daytona in, I don't know since when. Like I said, originally from Georgia. So yes, getting around the city. Exactly. So question, how many of us, and I've seen in the chat already, have used AI, and how many of us are saying we know how to use it kind of, but we're just looking for better ways to prompt, to ask questions, to figure out, like you said, to get more leads, to get people to our site? Let us know. Let me know in the chat box. And then we're going to move into our first topic as well. Not yet. Great option. We've not used it. Okay. Use it a little, not much. Use it, but not good enough. Good results, better ways. Okay. Okay. We want to use it more. I love this. And I love that everyone's here to learn. Never use it. Too much unknown. Exactly. Yes. I've used it, but always can learn more. Samir, exactly. Okay. So our first pitfall that we're going to be going over is like throwing someone. I was that kid. I was thrown in the deep end of the pool. My dad just threw me in, and then they were like, "Okay, you need lessons." And I did eventually get lessons, and I swam in high school, but then we stopped there. That was it. That's all I did for competitive swimming. But have you ever been like at work one day and you're new? Maybe you're an intern, maybe you're a new hire, and you just get thrown into it and you're like, what is going on? I know I can relate there. Let me know if you've been there in those shoes before. But you're thrown in your first day of work, intern right out of university, or this is your first job. I know my first job, I was washing dishes at a restaurant. Then I worked at a pharmacy, and I still go to those places whenever I go home. That's where my parents still get their medicine, like local pharmacy, everything. But when we're thinking about just handling things and you're like, here, just handle this, you need further information as someone that's new on the job, that's new somewhere. So, one of the things that we tend to do as people, and we're just human, is that we tend to say things and not give enough context, or giving it too much context. We're giving too much about it. So, when we give a request or we say things without context, it's like asking someone to handle something that it's literally their first day for doing these things. So we always want to make sure that this is where we make sure we're giving it the right information. And this is what I like to call, a lot of people like to call the role task audience framework. So when we're looking at the role task audience framework, just like you're seeing, is we're looking at who we're addressing this to, found out what mistake we were making. I used Gemini AI for writing, just started, and started reading some of your comments. I just love seeing some of this. Better ways, brainstorming function, I think will be useful. Yes. So role, task, audience. I want us, you can screenshot this. Like I said, you're going to be getting this in a little, like later on next week as well. Who are you addressing this to? You always want to make sure a technical expert, a customer service rep. And I always like to start my AI prompt like this. You are an experienced marketing manager. You are an experienced customer relations. So you're an experienced business owner who is a dog trainer. This is your business. And so that's how you'd want to start it. You want to giving it a vibe, giving it something that it is, describing it. So always make sure you're doing those types of things. So the task, we've got to be specific. And I even know that sometimes I'm specific when I'm trying to give action items, even for work, personal, what have you. So never travel with me. I'm trying to get better at like planning travels and all those types of things as well. So you always want to make sure that you ask them to write a blog post, summarize a technical report, um, things like that. And we're going to go into a good example in just a moment. And then the audience, who is the intended recipient of this? You want to define their demographics. And a lot of this you can find in your social media metrics. So this should be in your analytics, whether that's Instagram, that's Facebook, that's X, that's LinkedIn. And it's also really good to always be looking at our analytics. And I'm going to move on to this next slide, but I do want to ask, how many of us are looking at our analytics on social? We kind of know who our demographics are. We know who we're talking to online. We know who our audience is whenever we're doing ads. Let us know in the chat box, and it's okay if not. Thanks, B. Yes. And three senses give. Yes. So this is just a good example of a bad and a good prompt. So I look at them daily. A bad prompt, I'm a relationship coach. Give me course ideas I can create. We want to go a little bit further. Act as an experienced consultant who is helping me grow my business as a relationship coach. Um, Analyze my three potential avatars and list three specific course ideas I can create to help each avatar solve their specific pain points. So we want to make sure that when we're looking at this and we're giving a good example of a good and a bad prompt, is we also want to make sure that we're putting these into practice too. So I'm going to actually take us over and showcase another prompt as well. Okay, make sure you can all see my screen. I'll also blow this up a little bit. as well. So to make sure you can see it. So I would like you to generate a comprehensive blog post that delves into the positive effects that mediation can have on individuals experience a high level of stress, particularly those working in demanding professional environments. So I'm going to change this up a little bit. I'm going to go to our prompt library as well. And I'm going to stop sharing that screen. I'm going to show you this screen. And everyone should be able to see GoDaddy's prompt library. Okay. So I want to go prompt library right here. Okay. So I want someone to give me a business. I know we've been stating our businesses, but let's say business and something that you want to prompt ChatGPT for. Sacramento City car service. Okay. Marketing agency. Okay. How to Sydney. Okay. Dog training, retail, how to increase social media awareness. Okay. Retail. And you can also follow along as well. So let's say you're retail, Sydney, how to increase social media awareness, organic traffic generator. Okay. These are AI prompts. Social media. Social media awareness. Okay. So I'm going to copy this from the GoDaddy AI prompt library. I'm going to go over here, ChatGPT. Share the screen. Act as an expert social media strategist. Formulate an all-encompassing social media strategy for a retail business. Sydney, where are you located at? Houston. Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Dale, I see what you're saying. Everyone, are you not able to see my screen? Let me know, yeah, if you can see. I just want to make sure that y'all can see. Act as an expert social media. Yeah, and you should just be able to see like this part. You shouldn't be able to see the full part. Can see the screen, just not what you're typing. Okay. Okay, yeah. If you can't see, I will scroll down. You might not be able to see the whole thing, but you should be able to see exactly what I'm seeing, like right here on the screen. Okay. So act as an expert social strategist, formulate an all-encompassing social media strategy for retail business in Houston. Here you go, Bruce. I'm just putting that link right in there for you. Okay. In Houston, no problem. The strategy has to be optimized for specific social media platforms. And Susan, which one do you want to concentrate on? Give me one or two platforms. Okay, we will go with Instagram and TikTok. Establish a compelling brand voice, map out content strategy, set up measurable metrics for success. Leverage your creativity, strategic thinking. Before you start with this task, ask me a few questions about the business so you can provide the best results possible. So then we'll press this, it'll go down. Like I said, if you want your prompts to work for you, this is a great prompt to also ask it to ask you a few questions as well so it can get to know your business. Like for this one, since I didn't put in what type of retail business that I'm running, they asked, yes, they asked Sydney what kind of retail business she's running, what primary goals for using social media, who is a target audience, do you have existing? So it asks you some really great questions to not only make sure one that it gets to know your business, but one that's getting to know your business in your area specifically. It's going to do its best to create the best strategy, captions, everything like this. One thing I do want to tell us about, and I'm going to switch over to this in just a moment, is whenever you are, yes, for sure. You're good. Okay. So this is just a really great way to make sure you're not giving it personal information. I would just not even give it your name or anything like that. It doesn't need to know all that stuff. But giving it like something loose like Houston, retail, um, teens, tweens, like young 20 something year olds that we're targeting, things like that. So no need to get like too specific. Don't give out personal information. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that, but I know I should. And that'll be one thing that we're going to go over in today's presentation as well. Okay, so zero guidance on output, type, and style. So, no, no problem, Sydney. Thank you for volunteering. Okay, um, mistake number two. It's like going to a restaurant and I love going to eat, and whenever you go to restaurants, always treat your servers, everyone very well. You also never know what kind of day people are having, but just wanted to say that just because when you go out to eat, always treat people super well. But when you tell the chef to cook something, or I remember when my mom would ask me, "What do you want for dinner?" And I'm like, "It doesn't matter, whatever you want to make." And she's like, "I can't read your mind." That would always be her answer. I don't know if y'all have had to deal with that or if that's something that you go through on a daily basis, but the same is going to apply to AI. So without guidance on output and style, you're not really giving it anything to deliver. More importantly, that it's not really matching your needs as a business. So examples of style guidance is really important. And we're going to be going into another example in just a little bit. And I'll prep you this time beforehand so I can give you more time to put in there and also give me a little bit more about the business. So that way everyone's not typing separately as well. So that was my fault. So I'll prompt everyone beforehand. And what I'm looking for is whenever you give me stuff for the business or whenever we get ready for the prompt, is usually going to be the business name, what type of business it is, like if it's a retail business, if it's like a black car service, you're a personal coach, you're an online coach, you're a fitness coach, you're a dog walker, and then also put what you service as well and like your niche, because we all have those niches, and just having a little bit more will also help me as well, and also help the prompt too. So I'm going to stop talking and go into this a little bit so we can get to the next example. So when we talk about guidance, like I said, I want us to think of this as the mood or tone of your message. So when you're asked to explain this concept, like I'm 10 years old, this just really simplifies it into basic terms. Sometimes I use this, or if you're doing this for work and you're like, explain this in a professional but friendly tone. If you're very witty and not witty, but if you sometimes have sass about yourself, then using ChatGPT to kind of calm your tone down a little bit is super helpful. But a professional, knowledgeable tone just means to keep things formal and really show your expertise. Now, if you're asked to create a sense of fear of missing out, if you're familiar with that term, let me know in the chat box. But yes, I love doing this, especially when you're trying to display urgency for something with the holidays coming up. If you're trying to get your product out there, you're trying to build more awareness, create that fear of missing out. One thing that we tend to forget when we're delivering or we're creating social content is it's not about the product necessarily. It is, you're trying to get that point or service across, but it's about painting that picture of the experience and how that fits into that customer's life. So how are you solving that pain point for that customer? Black car service, if there's not Ubers in your city, how can you make that better for your customers if they're looking to get to and from the airport or for special events? Things like that. So just really making sure that you're creating that excitement that customers can feel and they can sense and they can paint that in their head too. I love when I can look at something or I can see social content or read an email or look at a website and I see myself using this product, which happens a little bit too easily and a little bit too often. So awesome. I love this. Yes, Samir, we will be sending out a recording and we'll also be sending out an email where this will be posted on later as well. So this is just some examples of output guidance. So, which is, oh, okay, I'm on the right thing. I'm like, wait, I'm looking at this and trying to with that. So now, so this is just how to present your your content whenever it's coming out of ChatGPT, what have you, but specifically ChatGPT, but present the key findings in bullet points. I usually do that if I'm like looking for a summary or to figure out what I've done for work, things like that. Summarize the main pain points in 2 short paragraphs, which is good. You're being concise, you're being exact. Like we said earlier, do this in 3 sentences, make it concise and condensed, and create a comparison table highlighting the pros and the cons of these 3 products, format and presentation guidance. So these are just some great ways to do this. And I'm going to go back into this right here. And yes, I did say that. Yes, Samir, we will be sending a copy of that as well. So I'm going to go into the chat. Patty, we create mesquite wood furniture, furnishings, and sculptures. Would we use AI for description of the product and the functionality of the product? Yes and no. And more yes than anything, but okay, so let's look for product descriptions. And again, this is all in the GoDaddy AI prompt library as well. So this is under the business objective. Patty, and I'm gonna, oh, I'm not sharing my screen. I'm sorry, y'all. And here we go. So AI prompts to sell retail and physical goods, um, inventory management, attract foot traffic, convert visitors and loyal customers, managing pricing, differentiate your business from competitors. So scroll down, customer retention expert. Okay, so we're gonna go over here and improve marketing promotions. I'm gonna go back a page as well. There we go. And Samir, if you can elaborate a little bit, I might be able to pinpoint a little bit, but can you describe like what can I use for creative gifts business? Could you describe like the creative gifts that you would be selling or things like that? That would be a bit helpful. And I can possibly, okay. So I'm gonna go down here and Patty, give me a second. I'm gonna scroll back up here. And Patty, if you can let me know then okay, never mind, I got it. Ah, Miss Knight, that's a good question. That it doesn't involve hip or anything, but you can like loosely describe like how to better position myself or come up with content ideas. Um, as a life coach and how I can deliver educational, informative, inspirational content to my audience via social media. Because I know, like, of course, HIPAA laws, regulations, things like that. So there's nothing that you can necessarily input in here, but you can describe your business, the categories, the different niches, what makes you stand out as a life coach in this. And then, and I can show you a prompt here in a little bit. So in order for it to come up with like different product descriptions and the functionality of your product, simply what I just did is just craft compelling descriptions. I asked it to act as a copywriter first and to also think of like putting in these product descriptions, but more importantly, to ask you questions to get to better know your business. And so this is just an easy prompt, and I'll put this in here as well. But whenever you're thinking of product descriptions or you're thinking about somebody writing something, you always want to think of like a copywriter. And I'm not even sharing my screen, that part. Let me put that right here for you. So this is initially what I did is I said act as a copywriter and come with a product descriptions for our business. We create mesquite wood furniture, furnishings, and sculptures. Make sure these product descriptions are engaging, tell a story, and are concise and condensed. Ask me questions to better help you come up with engaging descriptions. So when we're doing this, we do want to ask them, like I said, is to act as a copywriter, a writer, furniture writer, someone that works in this field, and they will pick that up. So the more descriptive you are, the more that you know, of course, about your business and your niche, the better. And more importantly, the more that you're able to actually input into these questions and describe it even more so will help your brand and your business. One thing I will suggest is keeping everything in one place, is maybe starting a doc or a file or a folder and putting all your information of what you learned about your business into something so you can compile all of this for your brand strategy as well. Okay, so this next section is confusing AI with complicated prompts. That's one thing that we don't want to do is we don't want to overcomplicate instructions. And it's easier said than done is every extra word impacts how AI is going to put out things. And I've done this before and I'm like, Jeffrey, reel it back. We know that if you want to be very straightforward and put in all the details, it's going to be, I think, about a 500-word guidance. But that can be a lot, and that's also can be very conflicting because you're giving it so many instructions to digest. So it's actually better to do this in parts, but also making sure that you're taking these steps and you're putting together a clear and concise instructions for your AI prompt to actually dive into this. And this just really allows ChatGPT, any model that you're using to create a graphic, a presentation, an outline, what have you, it's going to be able to actually come up with a better creative and more helpful plan for your business, but also for just you. So This is just an example. I would like you to generate a comprehensive blog post that delves into the positive effects that mediation can have on individuals experiencing of stress, particularly those working in demanding professional environments. Aim the content towards busy professionals who might not have a lot of time but are looking for effective stress reduction techniques. So this is good, but it's so wordy here. And here you've asked to write an in-depth blog post, which is great. You're asking this, but you're also asking about the good impacts of meditation for people who are under a lot of stress, especially those in high stress jobs. So the content should be created more so with busy professionals in mind who not necessarily might not have a lot of free time, but are searching for ways to reduce their stress effectively. So this would be a better way for you to do it. It's not as detailed, but it's a little bit more concise. This is straightforward. And simply put, you just need to write a blog post summarizing the main advantages of using meditation for stress management. Target audience that you want to keep in mind is busy professionals. So there are different ways. Yes, Angela, that is correct. A lot of the times you can go for the wordy version. Sometimes it is better just to be, this is what I need, this is my audience, and then you can hone in on some things. Because sometimes starting out with a lot of words is a lot for it to do. And it can be difficult. And this is just another example in an effort. This is just a lot, an effort to capture the attention of environmentally conscious individuals who prioritize adventure and exploration. This is a lot. And sometimes we don't need to hear all of that. You really just want to make sure it's simple, straightforward. Create a product description for a new travel water bottle. Highlight its leak-proof design, lightweight construction, and stylish look. Target audience, eco-conscious travelers. So there's different levels of when you're prompting anything of how you as a person should go. And the first prompts that we have been using in the first part of the webinar, I suggest using. And then once you get a hold of it and into something that you know, you can do things like this to prompt your AI to do what you need it to do, but more importantly, to get the answers that you're looking for. You can screenshot this. This will be in the recording as well, but this is just an AI cheat sheet of acting as a CEO. Yes. So that's one thing we're going to get into. Always making sure that you're checking your resources and always making sure you're checking bias. Yes, that is something that we're going to be getting into in just a moment. But yes, this is just a great AI cheat sheet. This will be in the recording. Like act as, like giving it a role as we were talking about earlier, create a show as a list, a PDF, bullet points, format, slides, markdown. And then right here, act as a CEO, an inventor. So just really think of like when you're thinking of your prompts and how to simplify them and make them great, this is a really good cheat sheet for you to use. So managing expectations. AI tools may not deliver the perfect results first, but view the process as a conversation and your first request is just the beginning. But I do want to bring up something that and brought up. If AI has outdated data, yes, I think can only go up to like 2023, I believe, maybe 2022. So while it can help you do a lot of things, you also want to make sure that you're always checking your resources and checking everything and making sure that it is right information, it is good information, it is information that's not outdated or going to get you in trouble at all. So always think about that as well. Is this good? And then also check for bias. AI does not know a lot, and it doesn't also have human emotions. So you do have to make this emotional or add it in yourself. But really make sure that you're looking at the information if it's accurate, and also check for bias. So just like we were saying, give feedback to the AI to refine the output. Be patient. But also like over time, few iterations will be needed. So you can always think about that is if you're doing this is making sure that you're looking at your work, more importantly, work it back, ask it questions. Um, you never take the first thing for what it is. And more importantly, you never just copy paste something into a doc and share with people. You want to go back, you want to put human emotion into it, you want to put statistics into it, you want to put references and resources, really making sure you're double checking your work. Well, AI is a great tool to use and it will save you time. It doesn't hurt to go back and check your work. Um, I'm a firm believer in that. So, providing feedback to your AI is helpful. And, like, for instance, if you ask it to write an email back, maybe put it in a more casual tone versus such a professional tone, because it will go into a very dear sir, madam, like we're not announcing the king and the queen. We don't need all of that. So you definitely want to put it into a more of a casual tone as well, adjusting the enthusiasm level. It can be like sometimes it'll give you certain words and you're like, all right, that is AI, you can catch on to it. But always adjust the tone, match the tone of the person you're receiving the email from, you're conversating with, that you're aiming for. And this is a collaborative thing. So always making sure that you're collaborating, you're looking at other resources and things like that to also check everything out too. So, just like Anwar was just me and him were talking about, but also we were just saying within the chat box as well is trust and verify. So, even AI, like as much as I do love using AI and creating content with it and using it um, with GoDaddy Airo, our new experience, is you always have to go back and check your work with anything. So always make sure that know that AI can make mistakes, so you can't always trust the output completely. And so we always want to go in and make sure that we're checking our work, we're looking at our resources, things like that. So always make sure you're doing that. So, for example, let's say I'm asking AI to write descriptions for 10 products, just like we were just talking about with Sydney. Tell it up front to say no info if it doesn't have information for a particular product. So that way, like you're being upfront with your instructions. And that way you don't have to worry about it copying and pasting everything. So you literally have to tell it what to do. But this way you avoid AI, ChatGPT, whatever product that you're using, just making up details about things. So always set clear expectations, just like you would with a person the first day they come into work, just like they do in the interview, right? When they come into the job. So you also want to just make sure you're avoiding errors or spreading incorrect information too. So just remember that AI can make mistakes and always fact check. So this is just important, but just also in general, whenever we're doing work. Okay. I want us to making sure that we're working smarter, not harder. Yes, Jeffrey, another Jeffrey in the house. I love it. Right at your audience's level. I think that's the biggest thing that we miss sometimes with everything, from businesses, from our products to not our products, like our descriptions, the way we introduce people on our site, the language. Not everyone works in the industry that you're working in, so you do have to speak at their level. And usually, it's like explaining it like a 10-year-old. And that just helps people out. If you can explain it to a 10-year-old, you can explain it to an adult. And I think that's the best way to sometimes look at how you're explaining your products. You're explaining just everything for your business. Just think about it at your audience's level. Think about your customers and think about who they are. Keep those people in mind. Um, so work smarter, not harder. Rename your chat to give it a meaningful and easily recognizable title and reuse it for similar tasks in the future. So let's say you're using ChatGPT, you can have different tabs, and I usually have like different running tabs if I'm planning something. Um, like if I'm doing like a dummy, like make a itinerary or an outline like in a spreadsheet. I don't give them my whereabouts. I just hear my dad saying like they're gonna know where you are, and I'm like, no, they're not, but they might. So have chats that you go back and use if you're using ChatGPT, if you're using AI, keep it all organized. It's gonna help you. And go back through all your iterations and then come up with one perfect one. Having AI go back and redo things is not a problem. But if you're just redoing it, just redo it just to see if it can come up with something better and better. It might be the prompt that's the wrong thing and maybe not the actual technology. So remember, always going back to the basics of what we've talked about before, getting clean, clear, and concise prompts, We're not overdoing it. We're keeping it simple. We're keeping it straightforward once we get up to that level. But right now, the prompts that you have in the GoDaddy prompt library, if I can talk today, are super helpful. They really are. And copy and paste those. The thing I love about this prompt library is it goes into niches, it goes into different products, it goes into how to get the best for your business. And this is a really just really great resource to bookmark and have. One thing I will say is at the very top, and I'll show this in a minute, it breaks down everything for how to use the prompt library, ChatGPT for beginners, Google Gemini for beginners, Microsoft Copilot, and risk of AI. So it lays it all out there too as well. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to show you this as well so you know where you're looking at it as well. So whenever you go to, if everyone wants to click that link in the chat box I just dropped, this is GoDaddy's AI prompt library. When you go here, don't think you're too cool for school. Sometimes we think we are, and that's okay. Look at the quiz guides, please. How to use the prompt library, ChatGPT for beginners. All of this is super helpful information, Kim. Yes, it's true. So just going through this, making sure that you're looking at the different things like ad campaigns, um, the industries that you have right here. So really making sure that you're using this, you're keeping it, and you're using it for, I want to say good, but it is all good. And just making sure you're working smarter, not harder. So no longer should we be stumped on how to prompt AI or ask AI for different things. We have a resource in the back of our pocket that a lot of people do. This right here, AI prompts for the holiday season. How many of us are already preparing for the holidays? Let me know in the chat box. If you have, if you are, if you're ready to go for the holidays, let me know. But if you're not and you're looking for some great ways to get ahead of the game, this is going to be your link right here. Holiday planning, local holiday marketing, even though yes, I love it though. It's never too late to prepare. And these are some great things as well, like service-based businesses. I know you're in this room right now. I know you're watching this. This is for you. And the great thing is not only this, but also social media calendar creation. If you don't have a plan, this is your plan now. I'm going to drop this specific link in here just for the holiday marketing. So hopefully that, you pin this as well separately. Share this with your friends, other small business owners. This is where I want you to go and you can succeed. Um, Again, I want to thank you all for attending today's webinar. I hope this has been super helpful in not only learning just how to prompt, use, avoiding these mistakes that we all commonly make with AI, but more importantly, how we can use it to better our small business, but more importantly, get in touch with customers. And I think that's one thing I do love is this is giving you more chances to go back into social or go back into those reviews and get time to connect more with your customers now that you have like some help from AI, whether that's helping create content, helping create product descriptions, your holiday marketing plan. And thank you all so much for attending. Be on the lookout for the recording. You will get a survey email today, but then be on the lookout next week, post-holiday, for the recording as well, and a link to get the recording. And again, I want to say thank you to all for attending. Hope you have a great rest of your day, a great weekend, and grateful for all of you. And thank you all for attending. See you all next time.